I'm going to be teaching you how to draft a basic body pattern as the front and the back pattern. This is my own version. This is, how I've been doing it all this while, and it's been working for me. I'm not saying it's the only way, but of course, I'm here to share my own knowledge. And yeah, you might definitely get to learn something. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, share our videos, invite your friends over to this channel because we are going to be learning a whole lot. And yeah, if you like my gown and you want me to drop a tutorial on how I made it, just indicate and I'll be more than happy to do that. So without further ado, let's go straight to the okay guys, so welcome to this video once more. So these are the tools that you'll be needing to draft your basic bodies. Of course, you'll be needing your measurement. In this case, you are needing the shoulder, the bust, the waist, the hip. That's where the blouse is going to stop, Then we are needing our shoulder to nipple, shoulder to waistline. Then our blouse length, we're going to be needing it. We're going to be needing our bust span, which is our nipple to nipple. You'll be needing your ruler. This is our pattern master. This is our armhole curve. So you can still do with this, without this. And if you have this, you really don't need to have this. You can still use the both, but it's fine. Of course, you're needing your tape rule, your scissors, and of course your pattern paper. So yeah, let's get started. So let us get started. So as you can see, I drew the line here as my starting point, and here just to center the paper. If you notice, the paper is not straight. So here is going to be my shoulder line, and from my shoulder line I came down 11 inches to my nipple point. From there, still on placing the distance on my shoulder line, I came down to this is my under bust line, this is my waistline, and then down here is the hem of our dress, of our blouse rather. So you come to your shoulder line. I hope you guys can see. You come to your shoulder line, you do shoulder line divided by 2. Mine is 17 inches. If you divide it by 2, it's going to give you 8.5. I hope you people can see. So from there, if I want to get my chest line, if you remember in my how to take your body measurement, I told you I'll be teaching you some tips on how to get some measurement. Now if I want to get my chest line, as you can see, there's no chest line here, which could also be called the armhole line. All I need to do is I'm going to divide my bust by 6 and add 1.5. And if I do that, but before we get there, let us take our neckline. So our basic neckline is always 3 by 3 for the front. 3 by 3 for the front. You see what I did? I went in by 3, I came down by 3. I used my armhole curve, this curve part, to get our neck curve. Now I will come back to my shoulder line here, and I'm going to come down by 1 inch for our shoulder slope. The human shoulder is not a straight line, so you cannot leave it as a straight line, because the typical human shoulder is not straight. So let me roll it well. So this is it. Now if you do bust divided by 6 plus 1.5, mine is going to give me 8 inches. And you see where I'm putting my tape to take my 8 inch. I'm putting my tape in this our slope line. So this is where we're going to have our 8 inch. So which means if I take it up from here, it will be 9. You understand? So I'll come here too, and I will do 9, so that I can just have a straight line that I am working with. Now this right here is our chest line. That is what we've gotten. So here is our chest line. Now the same 8.5 that we have here, I will bring it down on our chest line and do my 8.5. So what I'm going to do now is to connect it in a straight line from up to down. I hope you all can see exactly what I am doing. So now that that is done, it's time for us to get our armhole, our bust measurement. So from your chest line, that is where you're going to be placing your bust measurement. My bust I'm using here is 40. If you divide it by 4, it's going to give you 10 inches. And to that, I'm going to add half an inch for ease. So it's going to be 10.5. I'm going to add half an inch for ease, just for ease movement. I will bring over here. I will measure. I have 8 inch. I will share it into 2. I hope you're seeing what I'm doing, just to get the half point. And I'm going to come inward by 0.75. And remember when I taught you tape reading, this is our 0.5, this is our 0.65, this is our 0.75. So the front armhole is always deeper than the back armhole, although some people make them the same, which is okay, but I want to just show you how I do mine. So I come in by 0.75. So watch what I do, watch how I connect these dots. I connect from here to here, then I take my armhole curve, this is what we call our armhole curve, and then I connect from here all the way to here. So we have gotten our armhole curve now, and remember this is our bust circumference measurement. So now moving on, you come over to your bust point. I'm going to get my bust palm. Bust palm is our nipple to nipple measurement, and you can also get this measurement with your bust measurement. You understand? With your bust circumference measurement, you can be able to achieve this measurement. How do you go about that? You're going to do your bust divided by 8 minus 1, and in my case my bust is 40. 40 divided by 8 is going to give us 5. If you minus 1, and it's going to give me 4 inches. So which means, and if I take my nipple to nipple measurement, is 8 inches in total. So you see that this formula is correct. You can use it for anybody, any size. If you don't know how to measure your bust point, or you forgot to measure your bust, or maybe your client sends you a measurement and they didn't put your bust point, just do the bust circumference minus 8 divided by 8 minus 1, sorry there, and mine is going to give me 4 inch. So I'm going to come over to my bust point and I will mark 4 inches. I will go over to my under bust, I will mark 4 inches. I will come over to my bust point, I will mark 4 inches, and over to my hemline. Over to my hemline, I'm going to also mark 4 inches. So at this point now, we are going to join all these lines together in one harmony. I hope you are seeing what I'm doing. So this is our line joined all together. So now that we've gotten this line, when it comes to your dart taking, if you have a fuller bust, if your bust is from bust 40 upward, you can use 1 inch or 0.75 inches. Understand? I like to use 1 inch for a from bust 40 upward. But if your bust is from, let's just say, 39, 35 downward, you can use half inch or 0.75 inches. So here I'm going to use 1 inch. I take 1 inch here and I take 1 inch here. Note, I'm doing this on my waistline. I will now connect from my bust point. Normally what I like to do is I like to come down from my bust point by half or 1 inch. You understand? But let's just connect from here first to my bust point. You rule it and you rule it. Now when you come to the hemline, of course our that does not reach here. So what I like to do, I like to come up by 2 inch. You can come up by 1 inch, but me, I like to come up by 2 inch, and I will rule here, connect here to here, and I will connect here to here. And this is my front dart done. This is my front dart done at this moment. Now the next thing we are going to do now is we are going to take our circumference. Now when you come to our waistline, I like to work with my waistline. our waistline is 35. If you divide 35 by 4, it's going to give you 8.75, and this is our 8.75. But you know, we are going to add back this 2 inches that we took for that, because if you don't add it back, this cloth is not going to size the person. So if you do plus the 2 inches for that, and then plus ½ inch for ease, you understand? And this is it. So the same goes to our hip line. The hip we are using here is 42, and 42 divided by 4 is 10.5. So I'll just mark my 10.5 plus our ease, which is going to be 11 inches. So now we are going to connect all these lines together. So now with that done, I've joined all our lines together. I will come over to our bust line. Remember, this is our bust point line, and I'm going to go down by 2 inches. This is the difference between the back and the front line. The back and the front lines are not the same, so I like to use 2 inches. Actually, you can measure it, but to be honest, from bust 40 upward, I use 2 inches. From bust 39, 38, 35 downward, you can use 1.5, but 2 inches actually works for me, for everybody. So you mark it all the way to your bust point, and this is actually it. So here is our dart, and here is our dart. Please bear in mind that this body pattern does not have any seam allowance whatsoever in it, and this is our front bodies fully done with our waist and our bust dart intact. You might wonder, oh, how do you close up this bust dart? It's very easy to close it up. Just come over to your shoulder line and you divide it by 2. You just mark from here to this point. So if you close up here, this place is going to open up. But for this tutorial, we are just focusing on this and this. So here, this is our front bodies. This is all we have for the front bodies. All you need to do when cutting it is you close up your dart, which I'm going to show you in a short while, and then you add up your seam allowances. So yeah, let us show you how to go about doing the back pattern. So that is all for our front bodies. Let me show you how to cut this part. So when you get here, you have to through your dart, so that when you close it off, you will still have enough. But is the front bodies. Of course, if you have a smaller waist, this place is going to be more cinched. And remember that by the time you sew in your dart, the person's waist is going to come out more pronounced. So, but this is it for our front body. This is what you should expect, and I'll show you how to draft our back bodies right now. So for the back line, is almost similar to the front, just little changes here and there. Remember that our shoulder was 8.5, which is what I'm marking here. This is my chest line, and I'm repeating that 8.5 line here. I'm just going to join these two together. Now, like I said, there are some few changes. Our neck width still remains 3 inches, but for the neck depth for the back, we use 1 inches for it. Like to curve in here. And remember, our back also have our zipper allowance here. You come down by your 1 inch. Remember your shoulder slope by your 1 inch. just mark 2, the shoulder slope. Our armhole, 8, you divide by 2, it's going to give us 4. Now you remember for the front we went in by 0.75. Now for the back I'm going to go in by just half of an inch. I told you earlier on that the front armhole is always a bit deeper than the back armhole. Now for our bust measurements, we are using 40. If you divide it by 4, is going to give us 10, plus half an inch for ease is going to be 10.5. Now using our armhole curve, you get this lines. So this is our back armhole. Now for the back waist, our front waist was 18 inches, but remember that we took out bust that you're saying of 2 inches. So now you have to make this thing balance, because when you're sewing and you decide to use your bust that, say you see that it's going to be shorter if you don't it's going to be shorter if you don't balance it. Like the front is going to be short. So what I will do is I'm going to minus this 2 inches from our waist. Instead of having 18 inches, I have 16 inches. And then instead of our full length being 25, we are now using 23 as our full length here. So it's just us minusing 2 inches so that we can balance everything together. I hope you understand. Please, if you don't understand, ask questions, and I hope you can see clearly what I am doing. Now we'll go over to our dart intake. We'll still maintain our 4-inch dart. We come here, our 4-inch to the chest line, our 4-inch. Now note some changes. When we were doing our dart intake for the front, we didn't take it to the chest line. We stopped at a nipple point. But for the back, we are taking it to this chest line. And for the darts at the back, I just like to take half of an inch. You know, so half inch and half inch. That is total 1 inches. So you already know what to do. You through mark it to here, and then you also come up by your 2 inches. Remember, we came up by 2 inches for the front, because the dart will not reach our hip measurement. So I hope you can see. Please, if you have any questions, please ask. I'll be more happy to answer these questions. So now for our waist measurement, we are using 35, which is, if you divide it by 4, is going to give us 8.75, and this is our 8.75. Remember what I told you, we are going to add back this 1 inches for our dart. So we are adding it back, and then we are adding half of an inch for ease. Now for our hip line, 42 divided by 4 is 10.5. I hope you're seeing what I'm doing. So I'll just come here and I'll mark 10.5. The back is really easy, and believe it or not, we are done with our back this thing. We just need to do our zipper measurement, our zipper allowance, and that's it. Oh, sorry for the jagged line. And now for our zip. Now when you look at the bodice pattern, I'm going to put up a picture there. To avoid zip bulge, you know that bulginess that happens when you put on your zip. To avoid it is on your pattern that you're going to try and avoid that zip bulge. As you can see in the picture up there, you see the difference between there is one that is lapping to the skin and there's one that's bulging. To avoid that one that is bulging, just come to your waistline and mark in half inch. Please just do half inch. Half inch is okay. Some people have really tiny waists, their back is really cinched. They can go past 1 inch, but I would advise everybody to just do half inch so that you don't overdo it. Now watch what I'm doing. I'm going to now connect from my neck point to here, and from here to our hemline. Just watch the tutorial and you will definitely understand it. Then to this place. Now of course, because you know that our bodies are not sharp, just make sure you blend it up So the only thing left to do now is to add your zipper allowance. I do like to use 1 inch for my zipper allowance though, so I'm just going to mark in 1 inch. You can use whatever you know that you can intake. You can use 2 inches, 1.5, half inch even, but I like to maintain my 1 inch. And we are done. This is it. So you see that the back is a bit easier than that of the front. So I'm going to cut it and I'm going to show you all that we have right now. Thank you so much, guys. So in our next tutorial, I'll teach you how to draft a basic sleeve pattern.